Welcome to the HoCo Cyber Collective Podcast, where community, technology, and stories converge.
Hey everybody, thanks again for joining us. This is our weekly meetup. I've got Tom McNamara of Hopper here at the HoCo Cyber Collective Podcast. This will be a sort of abbreviated meeting. We've got a tight schedule, but we wanted to cover some important topics we think that new entrepreneurs need to really consider. One, the name of your company and your logo and how you present yourself to the world. And the second is, it's a very basic topic, but phone numbers. How do people get in contact with you? And Tom, I'd like, because you have time, how did you come up with, could you share a little bit about how the name Hopper and your logo and just what that journey looked like?
Yeah, so thank you, Colin, for hosting this today too, as well. For us, our technology is about cyber defense, cybersecurity that's in motion. We're constantly changing information inside an environment that disrupts threat actors from getting what they need to launch an attack. And so the historical equivalent to that is a technique called frequency hopping that was used in World War II, initially by the Navy for homing torpedoes to prevent jamming of the systems. And then later in World War II, it was used for communication, so that if somebody was trying to eavesdrop, you were only on a certain frequency for a certain period of time. The legitimate people you wanted to talk to would be changing the two endpoint frequencies continually so that they could continue a secure conversation.
Gotcha.
So frequency hopping is well known by electrical engineers. It's a great story about the history of that, how it contributed to Allied success in World War II. And when we conceived our particular technology for protecting initially passwords, we described it as password hopping because the humans would be able to get a new password every day. And in the background, we would be changing the passwords overnight, say, in all of their accounts, so that if anybody stole their password, it would be obsolete before it could be used. So that's the technique behind password hopping. So the convention of the day, right, was very short domain names. So we chose Hopper, HOPR, left out the vowel, one consonant, one vowel, a P and an E, because we just wanted to reduce the characters set so that it would be really easy for someone to type in, and we got the .co domain. So hopper.co is how we came up with it. Now our stylized logo was actually a second generation. Our first generation logo was pretty lame, done by me, but it was very cheesy. And after about a year of that, we got a really proficient artist, a logo artist, I would describe him, who was very meticulous, very thoughtful about branding, and spent a good bit of time trying to understand our business model and what we had and the way the technology worked. And he came up with the logo that we use today, which is the lowercase letters HOPR, with the H being sort of the anchor point because there's a blue square blue dot down there at the bottom. And so the actual motion of writing an H with the downstroke from the stem to the blue dot and then bouncing up to create the arc part of the H was essentially a single hop, if you will, which is
that's kind of neat. I like that.
Yeah, it's an optical way of in a static optical way of showing that something has happened there at the bottom of that H, and so that's how we ended up with the brand that we have today, which we really liked a lot. And it's easy for people. Most people don't know how to pronounce it phonetically. Many people say, "Is it Hopper?" because and I often, if you try to type it out, your spell checker or your automated text will replace the R at the end
Correct
with an
it.
E, so it looks like
Yeah.
hope. And so I have occasionally have that auto correction going on there with it. But yeah, it's worked well for us.
Well, that's actually, I appreciate that. Actually, let me see. I think this is, I'll show my logo real quick. There we go. Um, if you can see that a little bit. But I also, so this is the important thing is, and this is important, I think, especially in the time of generative AI. I went to for a real artist and I was looking for a logo. My wife, we came up with the name Sentinel Forge Technologies because, and this is almost embarrassing, but I wanted it to sound cool. Um, I knew I wanted it to have an S to start because S's sound better. And this almost sounds silly to say out loud, but it was things that I had found, and this was an important thing. I knew I wanted it to be a three-word name because then I could make a word like SFT, like an acronym, three-letter acronym. And my wife was actually the one who came up with Sentinel Forge Technologies. The idea, the motif was the hammer. We call it the cyber hammer. When I talked to the artist, the vision that I had was of like a magical blacksmith or something that, the idea was that we were someone like me with my technical background that knew cybersecurity going out into the world and teaching them through like the guard tower, I called it the sentinel box back there, to protect them from the evil creatures that were in the woods, the cyber criminals that are preying upon them. And then just going around and teaching as a blacksmith, apprenticeship, you have to build these things so that they work. And my wife actually pointed out afterwards that SFT sounds like safety, which was just a happy accident. And this is a very important thing. I then Googled SFT because I was afraid that it would be like, make sure it wasn't like some white supremacist organization, or just like with World Wrestling Federation and World Wildlife Federation, you can actually get yourself in legal trouble. And just a random tip, if you make your name 3 words long, almost with 100% certainty, I was able to find whatever websites I wanted to use. If it was like we're Sentinel Forge Tech.
For
Um,
the domains. Yeah, the
Actually,
domain TLD.
the problem you went through was the same thing that was very concerning for me. We settled on Sentinel because I think most people know how to pronounce it. Pronouncing it wrong, I had seen, in, again, 20 years in the industry, big corporations who give their companies products names that have unfortunate acronyms, or it's like no one says it out loud, and then they announce it to huge fanfare only to blanch when the internet immediately picks up on the comical, the Association of Senior Security with an S, the Ass Corporation, and just like, wait,
Yeah,
no, don't say that. And it's like, how did you not notice that? But people go through it. And as you said, there are other hoppers sometimes. I can't just be sentinelforge.com because that's an actual blacksmith company in Pennsylvania.
yeah. But your
So
but your stylized logo, the hammer reminds me of the Thor's hammer from the Avenger series.
I appreciate that you said that because that was very well directed in what I told the artist. And here's what I did. Here's what I would ask. This is relevant. The episode that launched this morning was with my attorney Peter Davies, and he talked about how have you, Tom, have you protected your logo? Have you trademarked it? Have you done any sort of legal protection? And actually, the tip Peter would say is you would trademark the H. I didn't trademark my whole logo. I only trademarked the hammer, and that's what he told me. Because if you put the hammer into other images, like you could make Hopper and you could actually extend that H into other H words, and those would also now be covered by your trademark. The example he gave was McDonald's with their M. They can put
Yeah,
their M on a fries container, and guess what? That fries container is now covered by, that's a
Right.
trademark,
Right.
which is different from a patent.
Yeah,
So
that's a good question, because we've done more with intellectual property than we have done with trademark. Uh, and I do think when we first did it, we didn't trademark it because you weren't sure how long we would stay with it. But
sure,
now it's probably makes sense to stay with it. And it's a good idea to do the H. We do use the H by itself as an icon. So if
that's a great icon. Yeah.
go to our website, the little tab icon is a fab icon, I guess they call it, is just the H.
If you'd like, here's a free tip for you as well as any entrepreneurs. If you ever go to any sort of convention or something and you have if your logo gives you the ability, if you go to Staples or some other printing shop for like literally $50, you can get like 250 stickers with your H logo on it, and it's pretty easy to make. If you want to have swag, just go out and buy a whole bunch of blank mugs. Or when I go to the Farm Bureau, I buy packets of little notebooks from Staples for like $1 a piece, and I put my sticker on it, and ta-da! It becomes swag, and it becomes giveaways. You can put it on your laptop. It becomes such a branding opportunity that even as a small business, you can be immediately recognizable. Like that H, if I saw that, I would immediately think of you. So I would actually,
Right.
if you're interested, call Peter Davies and wait for Taylor Preston if you, because he, this is relevant to a small business. And Peter, again, thank you for the time that you gave. He doesn't actually charge you until he gets to a point where he had me describe my cybersecurity architecture as if I was talking to a colleague, so that he could pick out the parts like, all right, we should patent that, we should do a trademark here. And he gave really good feedback about that's pretty cool, or maybe you should do a patent here. He gave me advice about whether I would be, and then once there was work to be done, then the billing started, and yeah, it cost money. But I will say, as a business owner, that was money well spent. My hand
Yeah.
is protected, as well as the words Sentinel Forge Technologies. So you would, if it was me, again, giving my free non not accredited,
Yeah.
it would be the H, and well as the just the whole word Hopper misspelled in that very specific way, so that
I think
just
back
easy.
back back to your comment or discussion on three-letter acronym. So when you say SFT, the immediate thing that came into my mind was secure file transfer, which is the protocol, for been around for a long time
Yep.
for transferring, like FTP, but there's a secure version.
I'm glad you said that because I now remember I'd found that too, and it was like we tried it out. It was like, this is the word that people are going to use. I like it. I'm
Yeah.
very happy with my logo, and I put it on. You can go get shirts with your logo on it, and I found nothing makes you look like a more real company. You have your Hopper shirt, and you saw the avatar. Did you see the avatars that I made?
I haven't seen those, no. For
Um,
Sentinel Forge.
no, for you. Um,
Oh,
I made for this is the silly.
on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
I haven't
I
seen.
think the one for you came out great, personally. Let me pull it up. My poor laptop is screaming at the stuff that it has to do. But you have a great Hopper logo on your shirt, so it's immediately very distinctive. Um, I made a logo. I had the HoCo Cyber Collective. I instructed the AI program to make us all fighting Avengers style against a horde of cyber criminals that were all wearing hoodies. And you were back there with your big fists up, ready to like kick some ass. And
Yeah, I'll
Vivek
send me
sits
that.
there smiling. You look like a real badass. Um, but yeah, that was well, and the other topic, and I know you got, so if you got to go,
I've got to run. Yeah,
but
we can.
we can continue this at another time, that about how we get the phone calls in there, and I'll talk a
Yes,
little bit
yeah,
about.
the communications piece. Got some um, trial and error that I did with that too before we settled on what we would use today. So
That's great. Well, before you go, Tom, real quick, do you have any quick wins or things you'd like to say before you sign off that happened this week that you'd like to share with the community?
things that happened specifically this week, I think we're getting actually seeing that companies are coming to us now and are, I don't know, either they're finding us through searches on the web or through word of mouth from others or referrals. But we're getting companies coming to us saying, "Hey, we think we need your technology. Can we have a discussion? Can we have a discovery call to see if this is a good fit for us?"
Awesome.
And so
That's great.
the slower and longer marketing that we've done for almost 10 months now, 11 months now is paying off, I think.
That's great. And
And
that's
it's a trickle, but it starts somewhere.
well, and that's what I want everyone that started. It doesn't, I tell my, son this, that you don't start off getting millions of views. You have to start with somewhere. And it's
Right.
that it's frustrating to do, but if you do it right, it takes time, but eventually you start to see results, and then you're going to be really happy of all this work that you've done, that you have a logo, you have your domain, you look like a real company, so that when people notice you, you're ready to take that next step, basically. So, well, thanks for sharing, Tom. That was awesome.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much, Colin, for your time today. And
no
we'll
problem.
connect with you in a week or so.
Awesome. Talk to you
All right.
later.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, so at this point, it's just me and my robot friends. I've got Read.ai and Fireflies.ai that are just diligently taking notes. Fireflies.ai, are you willing to talk to me now? He's still angry. The meeting schedule is about to end. I guess maybe he sent off. So what I want to do with the continue, so not just have me talking to myself, but I wanted to show my company and what we've done for phone calls. This is based on a training that I went through with a company called the Technology Marketing Toolkit with Robin Robbins. Fantastic bootcamp program. One of the biggest exercises that they forced us all to do as business owners was answer the question of how do your customers get a hold of you? And that is an important question. And way too many people, they caution, have one of these, a cell phone, and they think that that is an answer to that question that, oh, I'm going to put the founder and CEO's cell phone number out on the internet. And what they cautioned was that companies that do that are seen as being small time, that they're too small. And also it really means you're giving your cell phone away to the wider world. If you're making it show no value. So what they recommended was have someone answer the phone. And a lot of people think, okay, I'll just get an automated call system. There's AI voices that sound somewhat human. They said, don't do that. Does anyone, and the question they asked was, does anyone enjoy getting a call from a automated dialing system? How many people have gotten a phishing call trying to steal their information with a robot talking to them? People do not trust companies that use these. They find them less trustworthy if that's what they call. That's just something that they found. So the solution that they had was to have a live answering service. So the one that I use for Sentinel Forge Technologies is Ruby. And so let me share my screen. There was an exercise that we would do in our breakout groups where they would share our screens and they would go to our websites. This is my homepage. And as you can see, there's my business number right there. And what they would force you to do was, and I'm going to actually do this right now, so I hope everything works. So I'm going to dial my business number, which is 443-991-8280. And they actually have a special version. I have multiple numbers. This one tells me that if you call me at this number, it means that you found my number on my website. So they track that. Joe Japp, who is the president of Emory Day, who built and maintained my website. We're going to be talking about this next week, so join us on that. So here, this is a live demo. I'm dialing the number for those that can sort of see, and we'll see what happens.
For quality assurance, this call may be recorded. We're calling Sentinel Forge Technologies. How may I help you?
Hi, could I please speak with Colin Hamill? This is the HoCo Cyber Collective. He's expecting me. My name is Chris Anthony. I'm with Cybernox. Yep. And Colin is expecting me to call, I think.
Thank you.
Now I should get a call from them.
Chris, thanks for holding. He stepped away. May I take your number down? I can ask him to call you.
Sure. Here's my number. It's 443-604-6877. And you can call me back whenever. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye. All right. So I just received a text message that I received. I should have been better prepared for this. She caught me off guard asking me what my name is. I shouldn't say Colin Hamill calling for Colin Hamill. That wouldn't be very convincing. But just actually, I'm sharing my screen. So I just got an email, which you should see, which tells me that Chris Anthony, whose phone number is 443 with Cybernox, stated you were expecting his call. Especially in the world, I have directed them to screen my calls except for very specific people that I've put in there. I hadn't pre-cleared that sort of thing, which especially in a world of so many sales calls or scam calls, they filter out a lot of the noise. And when they do get through on my phone, it shows up as Ruby. So I don't have to answer a number I don't know. So I highly recommend it. The way that they bill it is they do it based on the number of minutes that you need every single month. They give you the ability to change between subscriptions up and down. So if you are starting out, you don't have any idea about what levels of call volume you're going to have. You can start, I believe 80 minutes is the amount that I have. It's at the lowest level. The pricing for all this is just on their website. And as your company grows, or if it turns out that your dispatch needs, I need more minutes, they will either charge you at that rate or you renegotiate to have a higher bank of minutes. It's predictable. You can have a breakout, it supports for multiple teams. And as you saw, they introduced themselves as Sentinel Forge Technologies. You didn't have to sit on hold. You didn't have to, and you set what your business hours are. So Sentinel Forge is ostensibly open 9 to 5, 5 days a week. That's something that I have the ability to set. So, and everything that they do is hosted in Amazon, I believe. So it's pretty resilient. I highly recommend, that they're not sponsoring anything. I should probably talk to them, but that's my recommendation. So if you have a not live answering service, you might consider looking into supplementing that or replacing that maybe with a live answering service. Because, and again, this is just me relaying from the training for MSPs and Technology Marketing Toolkit. They know what they're talking about. They've done studies on this. Service providers that use live answering services objectively, based on the data they collected, they have a superior outcome to people that don't. So just my 2 cents on there. Hopefully that's something that everybody found interesting. I'm not going to do too much more, so we'll just be signing off at this point. Thanks everyone for joining us on this much shorter podcast episode, and we will catch you next week. And thanks for joining us. This is Colin Hamill signing off.
Thank you for listening to the HoCo Cyber Collective Podcast. Stay connected, stay curious, and join us again for our next episode.